Alright, guys, so why don't I play video games anymore? What happened? Stick around to find out the answer to this question, but I want to give a disclaimer first. This video is not about whether or not video games make you violent. That will be talked about in another video. Now, before I begin, please hit that subscribe and like button. It will really help grow my channel. Hope everybody's having an amazing day today. I wanted to talk about the reason I don't play video games anymore. Now, to give you a little history about my gaming consoles and devices, my first gaming console was the Super Nintendo, and I got it when I was about 5 years old. My dad had bought it for the family, but it was specifically for me and my brother. The next console we had was the Nintendo 64. Now, I'm not exactly sure when this console was brought into our house, but I do remember being about 8 years old and playing the Nintendo 64 with my siblings, playing some Mario games and stuff. Afterwards, our dad got us the Xbox. I originally wanted a PlayStation 2, but Radio Shack was out of the PlayStation 2 at the time. I wonder if Radio Shack is still around. I don't think they are, right? They declared bankruptcy in 2015, I think. But anyway, I digress. The Radio Shack employee had told us that the Xbox was a very good system and that we should give it a try. So we did. My dad brought us the original Xbox. It came bundled with a headset. I believe it had 2 controllers and 2 games. Now the games were on the same disc. I was about 10 years old at that time. My brother and I ended up loving the Xbox brand, so we got an Xbox 360 many years later. Now the Xbox 360 had a beautiful design and it was an awesome machine, but it did have some issues. The famous red ring of death, which I'm sure hurts Microsoft's reputation. But we loved the system so much that when we got the Red Ring of Death after a couple years, I decided to buy another Xbox. And this one was the Xbox 360 Slim. This one looked even better than the original Xbox 360 in my opinion. I mean, just look at those beautiful glossy black colors. I remember getting the Kinect for it as well, when the technology for the Kinect was still developing. Now, regarding portable gaming devices, I had the Game Boy Advance, which a friend gifted to me when I was in the 3rd grade. And then many years later, I bought a PSP, which was a great system, but there weren't really any good games for it. So I ended up selling it. Now, I believe my love for gaming started dying in the Xbox 360 Slim era. And it's not because of the machine itself, but because of the games. They were getting too repetitive and I was too busy with school. When I graduated high school, I would barely play any games anymore. Before, I would play 4 or 5 hours easily almost every day without any issues. If it was the weekend, I would play 8-9 hours with my brother. It'll be crazy, forget about it. But the weird thing was that by the time I was about to graduate high school, I didn't even have the desire to turn on an Xbox. And this continued until I basically graduated college. So 4 years passed without me playing any video games. I never got a chance to buy an Xbox One because I didn't see any reason to buy one. I didn't have the time or the energy to sit down and play video games. I had to go to school, I had to do homework, I had to do projects, research papers, and I also had to work part-time, so that's where the hours of all my days went basically. But after I graduated, I tried to get back into gaming. I said, hey, you know what, maybe now that I have a little more time, I could play some games. Now, I didn't buy any console. What ended up happening was that my dad gifted me a gaming laptop. It was an MSI GE GE62 Apache Pro. And I think I played about 3 or 4 weeks, maybe 5 weeks of games using that computer, and then I stopped. Now, why did I stop? I stopped because I was sick and tired of all the violence in these games. I've always been an adventure, explorer type of person. So those were the type of games that attracted me, right? I used to be a big Call of Duty fan, but I got tired of all that violence and repetitiveness. So once I knew what I liked and I didn't like, I started to look for adventure, explorer type of games. But I couldn't find any good games. I couldn't find any good ones. They all have violence related content. One of my favorite games of all times was Naruto Rise of a Ninja and the Broken Bond. Maybe some of you have heard of it, made by Ubisoft. The reason I love this game was because of the adventure exploring nature of it, right? You go around the village doing different missions, sometimes even outside the village. It was like a 3D type of village too, not like a 2D, like in the Storm series. And it was good, it was a great game. The fighting in the game wasn't as good as the Naruto Storm series, but it did take more skills to learn how to fight. And it was awesome to do hand signs in order to do a jutsu. You couldn't just spam fireball jutsus and Rasengans like in the Storm series. You actually had to know what you were doing and you had to be tactical about it. Those were the type of games that I liked and I loved. When my dad got us the first original Xbox, we used to play a game called Jet Set Radio. Maybe some of you have heard of it. And this was a very basic game. You went around in skates and you started graffitiing things. It sounds simple, but it was an interesting and addictive game. And the music was amazing. I loved the music. I'm surprised they didn't make more of those games. Now, when I went to look for similar adventure, exploring type of games, I couldn't find any interesting ones. So all I want is to be able to play an interesting adventure game without all the crazy violence, right? And I'm sure I'm not the only one. Many parents out there would love to see an interesting, non-violent game in the market. Or many non-violent, interesting games in the market. Developers are very creative, and I just know they can do it because they've done it before. It does take a little more thinking because you have to create a brand new world, characters, but trust me, if it's done properly, you have a series that will make you a lot of money, like the Pokemon series. It's a great example. It's a game where you get to explore, get to do a lot of different things, and Pokemon has been going on for ages. Even to this day, it's still popular, right? They're still making games for it. Animal Farm is another great example. It's a game that exploded in popularity recently, and it's a non-violent game, and people find it very fun to play. I've never played it before, but it looks very interesting indeed. So in conclusion, bring back games with an interesting storyline, where you get to do some exploring, some missions, games that are engaging and fun, even without the multiplayer aspect of it, right? Just the single player or the multiplayer, but in the storyline, not in online. That would be good too. Have a great storyline. If developers can do that, then I might rethink coming back to gaming. You never know. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like the content, please like, share, and subscribe, and give me a comment about what you think. Do you agree with me that the gaming industry is focusing too much on the violent games? Or do you think the gaming industry is fine the way it is now? Please let me know. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your beautiful day.